Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino ranks every boss in A Bug's Life from easiest to hardest. Any of you guys play A Bug's Life? Disney had a couple games on PlayStation 1 that I put a good amount of time into as a kid, like Toy Story 2 that I recently did a boss ranking on. But this is one I actually never beat until just recently because I think I'd get stuck on the level where you have to find all the parts to build a bird. Going back in, I had no memory of any levels after that, and I didn't even know there was a mushroom upgrade beyond the dandelion, which you need to beat that level, so I can see how that would trip up a 7-year-old. Anyway, there's 5 bosses in this game, and they range from press square until it dies in 5 seconds to spend half an hour chasing a guy around, so let's get after it. Starting from easiest and working our way to hardest. Number easiest, Thumper. It's kind of interesting because Thumper is like a psycho berserk monster who is absolutely the scariest and most intimidating bug boss canonically. Like realistically, if you're Flick and you have to pick a boss fight against either Thumper, Molt, or Hopper, you ain't choosing Thumper. But in practice, all you have to do is get a blueberry and spam him to death as he tries to charge at you because the berries knock him back enough that it's no problem. There's definitely different ways you could rank the difficulty of bosses in this game because in A Bug's Life, the boss levels are still levels. You still have completionist requirements if you want to get medals, like collecting all the grain and all the flick letters and killing every enemy with a gold berry. I didn't really do those in this playthrough. I'm still waiting for the day that will never come when PlayStation adds this game to PS Plus alongside Toy Story 2, and then I can get trophies for bothering to do all that. Regardless, I still explored around and got some stuff to get a sense of how difficult it would be to complete it, and with this level, Thumper would still be the easiest. Most of the stuff to upgrade your acorn sprouts and berry power is just right there if you get on the big glowing mushroom, and Thumper only pays attention to you if you go to the middle of the arena. But if you want the fight over in 5 seconds, you can easily make that happen. Number 4, Bird. Some bosses are straightforward like Thumper, and some like the Bird require some rigmarole. The first thing you need to do is a perimeter check around the dry riverbed for all the blue tokens so you can get the super jump power up, which you know you need because every 15 seconds Flick will yell out, "I need super jump!" Then you can go up top and follow the cliff edge to the goldberry if you feel like falling for a trap that makes no sense. So before the goldberry, you can get the blueberry, at which point the bird flies really low around the arena and makes himself hittable. But then if you go and get the goldberry, the bird fully heals himself and flies much higher out of range, forcing you to then find enough yellow tokens to create a homing turret out of the acorn up there. It's so weird. I was watching back the footage of me doing all the BS and I noticed him heal when I picked up the goldberry and fly upward. So I was like, would he not do that if I just hit him with blueberries? So I went back and redid the boss fight, and the answer is yes. In fact, you don't even need the super jump. This fight can be over in 30 seconds if you want it to be. Just immediately go up the cliff, get the blueberry, turn around, fling shit at the bird till it dies. Level over. It's almost easier than Thumper because the bird is less slippery while Thumper can occasionally peel off your damage track and come at you from a different angle. This game has layers I never even thought of, and the hidden mechanics go crazy. Number 3, Thud. If your name is Thud, you're probably not going to be known for your intelligence and wit. Set up for failure he was. His parents were like, let's name him after the sound he'll make when we drop him on his head as a baby. His arena gets right to the point though. It's a rolling tin can with obstacles moving back and forth at all times, creating permanent danger zones. Thud will be at one end of the can, and every time you hit him, regardless of damage done, he will move to the other side while throwing stuff at you. You can get the goldberry by pushing the bouncy ball underneath it, but it's kind of pointless because Thud has a maximum amount of damage he can take per interval, where more berries just don't register HP loss. I also hit him with a single blueberry that did 1/3 of his bar, and then later I hit him with a blueberry that did 2/3 of one for seemingly no reason, so there's no consistency, and gold berries weren't increasing that damage at all. If you find yourself getting run over by obstacles, each time you hit Thud, he drops a health leaf, so that takes a lot of the pressure off. This level's kind of impressive from a PS1 standpoint. The constantly rolling can is a cool effect of all the stuff in it getting dragged around. Number 2, Hopper. This could be a controversial pick, but it's based on a technicality that I'll explain when we get to number 1. This fight took legitimately half an hour for me, not because it's difficult, but because it's so obtuse. Hopper picks an area to be in, and if you hit him, he goes to another one, and you have to chase him down, but oftentimes he flies so high, and the arenas are so huge, you just lose track of where he went. The sections are cordoned off by twigs that are impassable, and I sure wish I knew that you had to do a certain amount of damage to Hopper for him to bust through it, something he does with no indication that he's doing it if you don't see him do it, so you might still be running around the first area looking for an asshole that's just not there anymore. Getting the tokens for super jump and other upgrades is such a tall order in a game with platforming this garbage, and this level really brings that into focus. Half the time you jump off a ledge, it just doesn't register the jump and you fall. I have to imagine the uneven terrain just makes the game think you're already in midair half the time you're walking around, and if you do manage to make a running jump, Flick lands and walks like 15 more paces unless you force him to stop in place. He treats every surface like an ice rink, and if you're touching a small wall trying to jump over it, he bumps his little ant kneecaps into it and loses all momentum. The platforming is truly non-functional at times, and it's very annoying. Like this part where I'm trying to get this acorn up this stick onto the upper area because I need to turn it into a propeller for my dandelion to gain height from. You can't jump with an acorn in your hand, and they love to slide every which way, so I gotta get it just so onto the stick and then come around from behind because jumping on it will activate it, and just slowly inch my way up and down the stick so Flick doesn't decide to slide off into the sunset. After the first 2 sections, it gets much more straightforward. You can do a running jump and slam stall to reach the gold berry off the cliff, then you just have to follow Hopper back up to the top where the bird nest is and spam him to death till the bird comes out and finishes it. If I went back and replayed this boss, I'm sure it would take far less time, and if you ever need health, you have the ability to make a health spawning plant that exclusively shoots the leaves up into the walls where you can't reach them. This game kinda sucks, but I still enjoy it sometimes. Number 1, Molt. Molt is a straightforward fight like Thumper in an even smaller arena who also leaves you alone for the most part to build up your upgrades. So, what makes Molt the hardest boss in A Bug's Life? Because he's the hardest to get the gold berry medal on, bordering on impossible, based on my experience. If you just want to blueberry him to death, you're free to do so in a relatively quick amount of time. Not that there aren't still complications, but you can definitely do that. But if you want that gold execution medal for committing bug genocide, he fucking camps it mercilessly. Like a killer in Dead by Daylight that everyone hates, this motherfucker simply does not allow you to get up to it, and he will take every extra life you have instead. But let me back up a bit. First things first, you're getting green tokens to reach higher tokens to reach better berries so you could damage the boss. These tokens are guarded by a couple of black ants who endlessly respawn every 10 seconds because that's how the game is. Now, ants are generally not a big deal. There are literally 9 different ways to kill enemies in this game that love to randomly not work. And because of that inconsistency, you're probably going to take a hit here and there. Like, you can stomp next to an ant and the shockwave will kill it, unless it decides not to and you get hit. Or you can jump directly onto an ant to kill it, unless it decides not to and you get hit, etc. Berries are obviously the safest option, but if the ant is too close to you already, you just fling them over its head and you get hit. Anyway, as you build up your tokens to spawn more powerful berries, you may notice something subtle happening in the playing field, like the entire crowd of onlookers tossing hundreds of red berries onto the field wherever you are at all times. These berries override your powerful berries. If you had purple and someone hits you in the face with a red, you're back to red and have to respawn to purple. It is actually fucking nonsensical. This colony is cheering for you to win this battle, and their way of helping is nerfing you into the ground. Look guys, I got this purple homing berry. Now I can do some real damage to the boss. No, Flick, that won't work. Take these red berries that bounce off him instead. I have never been so worked against by people who claim to support me before. So not only is it borderline impossible to get the gold berry token, but even if you did, the crowd is just going to override it with red the first chance they get. The gold token is up above the throne, and you need to put a fully upgraded green seed next to it to get up there, but Molt will not allow it. He wants to prove his usefulness to Hopper, and he's doing the world's greatest job. This dude should take over the clan. If you get hit while carrying the acorn, you drop the acorn. If you drop the acorn in Molt's vicinity, even if you activate the leaf, you're never getting up there, because he can reach you all the way up to like the 3rd one and knock you off like it's nothing. He is an unstoppable force that just keeps ramming into you like a horny magnet. You'll lose life after life trying to skirt around him and get up the leaf. I had 4 lives the first time I attempted this, lost every single one and got a game over, and had to abandon the gold berry completion. For normal strats, you can semi-reliably avoid your berry getting written over by staying on the move a little bit, like taking a few steps forward here and there while you spam berries at Molt, moving side to side at a good clip, watching him fall on his ass repeatedly till he dies, but god damn, they gotta add Molt to Dead by Daylight. He's the new Thomas the Tank Engine. Bright, happy personality, sinister horror undertones. This dude should be a meme. And that's going to do it for this boss ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. I plan to do more classic game boss rankings alongside the regular ones, so shout out some suggestions in the comments. Croc and Gex are high on the list when their remasters come out. Otherwise, watch all my other videos with a dogged sense of determination, and I'll see you guys next time.